Hey friends, it's Len here at 1A Auto. Today we're working on our 2004 Volvo XC90. This is the all-wheel drive version, 2.5. And I want to show you something very basic. We're going to be removing the engine mounts. These are the lower mounts. They're easy to get to. I can do it. You can do it too. As always, if you need this or any other part, you can always check us out at 1aauto.com. Thanks. All right, so one of the first things we're going to do is get this bolt out of here. To do that, I'm going to use a 15 on this side. I'm going to use an 18mm wrench on this side, which is the nutted side. You can use your hand ratchet or air gun, whatever you've got access to. Just try to get it in there. I'm going to grab a short extension real quick. They came through from the passenger side to the driver's side. Set that up there. This can move around. Clear to move on to the next step. So I'm going to use my 18mm wrench. I'm going to go right on this nut under here. Use my 17mm up top here. Went up to down, or straight up and down. Do the same to this side. Let's see if we can get this in under here. We'll get this out of the way. All right, so there's a stud that comes up, and then there's a nut on the top there. You can remove that right there. It's pretty easy to get to. We'll just grab an extension and a swivel socket, and we'll be able to get to it easy peasy. Okay, so I've got my 15mm swivel down there, a nice long extension, and I have my air gun. You can use a ratchet. Anytime I'm using an air gun, you can also use a ratchet. That's the nut that goes on top of that. Now we can move ahead to the next step. All right, so we're going to take these out, 10mm. We'll get this out of the way so we can get our mount down in there. Oops. Both those look the same. Set them aside. Grab this. This just slides into the air filter box like that. So you just kind of go up and pull it out. Set this aside. We're going to take our mount, just bring it right down in. We've got plenty of room at this point. I'm just going to set it down in here, so that way there, when I'm underneath there, and I finally get the other mount out, the original, I'll be able to just swap them, and then once we bring the vehicle back down, I'll grab the old one out. All right, so we're just going to apply a little bit of pressure on the oil pan here. I'm going to come right along the edge. And we're not going to try to lift it up too much because, of course, the mount's still attached and everything. But we're just going to apply a gentle amount of pressure, just like that, so it's holding it. Awesome. Now we can move ahead to the next step. So I'm going to take out these two bolts right here, and that's going to make it so this thing can come loose. Both those are the same. You can set these aside. At this point, this can move around. So now we're going to go right up in this hole right here. there's a bolt that has a 14mm head. Just gonna hold that mount so it can't spin too much on us. The bolt should be ready to come out. Get the mount moving around a little bit. Let's see if I can get that bolt. There it is. So there's our little bolt. Just took it out right like that. Set this aside. So now we're just going to jack this up until we can get this mount out of here. So close. Alright, so the hardest part is just getting it jacked up high enough to be able to get the mount out of the way. We're just going to set this one right up out of the way, and then I'm going to grab my new one. And we'll be able to move along. Okay, so we just need to make sure that we have that triangle right there, located up inside the slot where it belongs, right up there. Once you get it in, this shouldn't want to spin around anymore. Now we're just going to take this, lower down the engine a little bit. Make sure the old one's out of the way enough. See the hole for the mount right through my hole here, so I'm just going to get that bolt started. Yeah. Now that it's definitely started, I'm going to continue to lower until the engine's resting right on the mount, and I don't have to hold it anymore. Make sure that other mount's still moving around, it's not stuck on anything. Perfect. All right. We can snug this up and then we'll torque it down. Make sure this is tight. It's definitely tight. All right, now I'll move over here. Get these bolts in. I'm just gonna go ahead and snug these up. Tight. All right, so we're just gonna come back out front here. We'll grab our mount out of there. Set this aside, and we can continue. So we've got our nut, and that's gonna go right on the stud, on the mount up there. Got that started on there. Grab our extension with our swivel socket, just like that. Now I'm gonna grab my gun, and we'll snug it up. Socket on there. That's tight. Let's move along. Okay, so we've got our intake tube here. We've got our squared end. That's gonna go inside the air filter housing box down on the bottom down there. Just weasel it underneath these wires and such. Feel around. The hole for this is pretty close to the front of the box. It's on the side, but it's very close to the front, like right about here. We'll be able to line up these holes now. Two screws. I'm gonna tighten those up. tight. All right, so it's time to get this bar back in here. It's gonna come right up and over like this. Line up the hole here. Get this one so it's sitting up where it's gonna go. Everybody looks happy. Pick whichever bolt you wanna start with. These go down and through. Just like that. Get your nut for the bottom there. It's definitely started. Bonk, bonk. See if I can get my hand down here. There we are. All right, everybody started in. Let's go ahead and snug them down. We're gonna use our 18mm wrench down on that bottom nut. 17 on top. Same for this one. Now we're gonna do this one. All right. There we are. Easy peasy. All right, so we're gonna torque this down. We're gonna get our 18 on the bottom there, our 17 on the top right here. We're gonna tighten this down to 85 Newton meters. There we are. One more time. Okay. This one over here, same thing, 85. We're gonna go 85. There we are. Try to get my wrench off of here real quick. Tighten this down to 85 as well. There we are. Okay. So torqued, torqued, torqued.
Thanks for watching. Visit 1aauto.com, your place for DIY auto repairs, for great parts, great service, and more content.